If you think quest 1 was difficult, wait till you get to quest 2. This is going to really test your patience, your unit stash, and also your revive stash. This is quest number 2 in the Wheel of Fate endgame content, and let's jump right into it. The first fight is going to be against a Gorr. Now the tag locks here are going to be size medium and defensive utility champions. The nodes are Bleed Immunity, Press the Advantage, Obstinate Charge, Scared Stiff Passive, and Countdown to Lockdown and Free Spirited. So, just very quickly, you will gain extra gauge on your strikers, and also if you don't attack the opponent in 6 seconds, you're going to be rooted in your place. But there's also Obstinate Charge, so you will have to reparry him. But the most important node here is going to be Countdown to Lockdown. So after 4 special ones, Gorr will be locked out from his power until he gets to an SP2. And this whole fight depends on how you are able to evade that special 2, so you might have to learn that. That is going to be the most important piece of thing here. And as always, it's Gorr, do not parry him or do not try to get hit in the block, because he will apply those debuffs and they're really gonna hurt. Now the two best options here, the best one is definitely Wong. Once you build up all of his blessings, like all of his charges, you can just spam your special 3s. The special 3s will remove all of those dark magic buffs from Gorr, and you can literally block the SP2s quite easily. I have a rank 4 Void and I'm just using him. I had to practice, not gonna lie, quite a bit about the SP2 evade, and once I had that going, Void worked really well for me because he's duped and Sig 140, and I was able to reverse his healings. I mean, you can't reverse the healings from Gorr because he's immune to that, but all the debuffs were doing all the damage on Gorr very quick, and I was able to take him down quite comfortably in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. One of the faster fights that I've done in this Wheel of Fate quest 2, but trust me, it gets worse after. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you on the next fight. And then the option that can work is going to be Nick Fury in his second life. The problem is that you need the damage. If you don't have damage to out damage his regen, he is going to keep healing back. So that is something you have to look out for. Fight number 2 is Dazzler. The tag logs here are going to be size small and defensive utility champions. Now this is an annoying fight. Now if you don't have the right champion, this is gonna take so long. This fight took me 13 minutes to take down with the rank 1 Spider Ham. But of course, if you have a rank 2 or a rank 3 or even a rank 4 champion, this fight will be faster. Now the nodes here are going to be Stylish, Power Generator, Suppressive Barrage, Outside In, and Limber. So let's start with the basic one, Limber. If you're going to stun the opponent, for the next stun the duration will be reduced until you're not able to punish the stuns or punish the parries. Next one, whenever you will get a bar of power, you will give 2 dynamo charges to Dazzler. And if you knock down while she has those dynamo charges, she is going to gain power. So the whole difficulty in all of this quest is not pushing Dazzler to an SP2. And you can remove those dynamo charges by using Intercept. So what I like to do when there are 2 dynamo charges ready on Dazzler, I just throw my special attack to knock down, and that way I can always keep her below 2 bars of power. So you will notice that whenever I will gain a bar of power, you will see 2 dormant power gain charges grayed out on the opponent right there, and as soon as I knock down, they are converted into power. So the difficulty here is not pushing Dazzler to an SP2 because that's going to be difficult to handle. I'm using a Spider Ham, and my rule of thumb was as soon as she gets to like 1 bar of power, I'm not gonna knock her down. I'm gonna only knock her down when she has 0 bars of power or she has half a bar of power, so I don't accidentally push her above the 2 bars of power threshold. Apart from that, you can always kind of parry and knock down as well if needed. Be careful, she is also going, because of her own mechanics, she is also going to miss if you try to intercept too much, so you have to be careful about that. And yeah, that is going to be the whole gameplay fight loop. It was a very slow fight for me. It took me forever. It took me 13 minutes, but that is the way to go. Slow and steady, and you can get this fight done. I did manage to get a solo 2 in 2 so far, but trust me, the path gets really annoying afterwards. Now, what are the other options that you can use? So there is Silk. You can use her as well because she's got that auto evade. So even if you push Dazzler above 2 bars of power and you have that evade ready, you can get all of that evaded and you can go back in. So Silk will be a good option here. She can probably solo the fight. But the absolute best option is going to be Spider-Man Stark Enhanced, because he is going to gain those poise charges and he's going to hit really hard. And then he also has auto evade on the special, so that's going to help you. And if that wasn't enough, there's also, if you parry and heavy, the heavy attack also power drain. So even if you were able to accidentally push Dazzler to an SP2, Stark Enhanced Spidey is going to power drain that. So if you have Stark Enhanced Spidey, he is the best option for this fight. So check that out, and I'll see you on the next fight that is going to be against Penny Parker. Now fight number 3 is going to be against the Lady Deathstrike. So just like quest number 1, this is all about removing her armors or dealing damage that is not direct burst, so she doesn't regen back with the nanotechnologies. So the tag locks here for this one are going to be size small and then offensive burst champions. The nodes here are adaptive power shield, so she will take 90% less damage from all sources, except when she throws a special attack. The attack of your champion will be increased by 200%, so you will do extra damage while you throw a special attack, depending on how many bars of power you have. So if you throw a special one, that will be 200% extra attack damage. If you throw a special 2, that is going to be 400% extra damage. So the bigger the special attack, the more the damage is going to be applied. There is hard knock life, so every time you're going to parry Lady Deathstrike, you are going to get a disorient. That is going to reduce your ability accuracy by 15%. So when you have 2 or 3 of those, you are going to fail your parry, so keep an eye on that. And talking about how to deal with this fight, is important that you bring in champions that have easy access to armor break. Now within these tag locks, the absolute best counter for this fight is going to be Medusa, because she is just nuts when it comes to this fight, with all of those big criticals on the SP2 and also applying those armor breaks and armor shatter. She just destroys this fight. Now other champions that can also work are going to be Gamora. Go with the SP2 rotation, and with all of those extra furies and everything and damage, it will help you out. You can do SP2 SP1 rotation with Gamora, that can work. You can also go with Rocket Raccoon with his SP2s, that's gonna really hurt as well, so you can just do an SP2 spam. Now I am using a Spider Woman. I would not recommend it because she took a lot of time. It took me almost about 15 minutes to take her down, and it was a very long fight, but that's okay. I just pulled her as from the Titan Crystal. I took her to rank 4. So whenever I get an opportunity to use a rank 4 champion, I go for it. I was able to solo the fight, but it was a lot of effort and a lot of work, and I would not recommend that. But if you don't have an option, you can bring in Spider Woman, or you can also bring in your Spider Ham. So both of these power sting options can also work, because those are not regenerated back. So they can also help you take out Lady Deathstrike if you don't have the option. But absolute best options are going to be your armor breaks. I would say if you have a Medusa, bring her in. Even as a rank 1, she is going to destroy this fight. And also, just to remember that most important thing on this fight is going to be your spacing. Lady Deathstrike AI is very aggressive, and she is going to corner you with a special, so you have to take care about that. Just keep hitting in Lady Deathstrike's block, and that is going to make the space for you and keep her on her side of the map, and you can easily play around and make sure that you're not cornered, because with the cornered and the unblockable specials, you will die very quick. And one final thing, there is the node on the prowl here, so whenever you will see a cooldown underneath your health bar for a power drain. Whenever that power drain is about to cooldown is about to expire, you're going to be power drained unless you are dashing back or you're using a special attack. And if that wasn't enough, whenever you will gain a bar of power, you will power lock for 3 seconds. So you have to be careful. Don't expect like you get a bar of power, you can throw it straight away. That's not going to work. So you have to like slowly wait for the power to come back and then you can throw it out. So just be wary about that and you should be good for this fight. All in all, it's not a difficult fight. You just have to make sure that you keep it bringing up armor break champion and you should be good. Now moving on to the next fight, this is going to be against our Enchantress, and this is one of the fights where it starts getting bad, but then again this is still a fight you can get done with 2 or 3 revives. She's not bad only if you know how to evade her specials and how to remove her spells. This is just a glorified Enchantress fight with Matador node, so you will only gain power when she's gonna throw a special attack, and all of her specials are going to be unblockable. And there's also a third node that is take your medicine, so whenever you will parry Enchantress, you're going to get 25% of tranquilize on you. That is going to reduce your ability accuracy, so you have to play around it. So the tag logs are going to be Avengers and Male, and your absolute best option is going to be Hulk, because the lower he gets in health, he is going to deal more damage, and plus with all of those physical vulnerabilities, he is going to deal quite a bit of damage here. So go into that practice mode and learn how to dex the SP1, because without that this fight you're going to struggle. So that is very important for you to learn that. Now other options that can really work are going to be Ant-Man and Quicksilver, and I've also seen this fight taken with your bleeders that are going to be both of your Black Panthers, your Black Panther OG and also Black Panther Civil War. So all of these 5 options can work, but I would say Hulk is probably the best option because of his burst damage and his longer stuns and everything. It took me around 3 revives for this fight and I was able to take Enchantress down. Now if you don't have an Enchantress in your deck and you're not able to practice, check out different resources where there is dual targets available. Check out an Enchantress and duel her and really learn the SP1 to get through this fight. Otherwise it's going to be difficult and it's going to take a lot out. So best option is to practice, bring in Hulk, and you should be good. The next fight is going to be against the Thor Ragnarok, and the tag lock is going to be 2016 champions. Now the most important node is going to be brace for impact. So if you notice, there's an unstoppable icon just underneath Thor Ragnarok's health bar, just in the corner. Now when that is active, you cannot knock down Thor Ragnarok with a heavy attack or a special attack, because he will resist the last hit of it, and then he can punish you with his special attacks or basic attacks. So you have to make sure that that one is on cooldown before you attempt any heavy or your special attacks. Now how do you remove that? You wait for it to come off of cooldown and then wait for Thor to trigger a heavy attack, and then you intercept with the special or a basic attack, just like here. You notice that he threw a special attack and I went in and threw my SP2 and intercepted his heavy attack. So not only I did the special attack damage, I also intercepted him and removed that unstoppable from the brace, and now I can knock him down. The next one is going to be your combo up. So he's going to gain combo meter and you can only pause that every time you're going to intercept him. And there is 2 to tango, parry, and there is powerful, so his power cannot be manipulated or power drained or anything. So if you look at the fight, it's quite one of the simpler fights in all the quest. All you need to do is to make sure that you have a special attack ready that you can throw out whenever he starts gaining power, so you can stop that power gain. And you have to make sure that you intercept him to remove that brace so you can knock him down. So there is a kind of a loop to this fight. Once you get into it, you can learn it, but it's one of the most simpler fights. Now the best option is going to be Hyperion. One of 2 things, because his heavy attack gives him more furies and more damage, and he will always have a special attack ready to go. So you don't have to wait when Thor is going to gain power. So you can throw that special attack out and stop that power gain. So that is the best thing about Hyperion. Some other options that I've seen used in the community are going to be Phoenix, your She-Hulk, and also your Blue Cyclops are some of the options that have been used. But all in all, not really a difficult fight considering the content, but once you get the hang of the loop, you're good to go. Fight number 6 is going to be against Arcade. Now the tag blocks here is going to be size large and also offensive burst champions. The nodes here are going to be heavy hands, stun immunity, parry and free spirited. So stun immunity is self-explanatory. With heavy hands, it's whenever you are going to parry the opponent, whenever the opponent is going to parry you, he's also going to apply a huge shock on you and you will take quite a bit of damage with it. So the whole thing is not to get auto blocked. And then there is free spirited, so your spirit gain is really increased, so you can really get your striker within 5 or 6 hits if you're using a 7-star 6-star version of it. So that is going to be really helpful in this fight. Now the absolute best option in my opinion is going to be the Serpent, and Odin is a very near second on it. I'll explain you why. The other options that I've seen used is going to be Beta Ray Bill and also your Werewolf by Night. Now to be honest, this fight is not more about the nodes or which champion you use. This fight is more about how you play this fight. The whole idea is to just keep pushing Arcade to an SP2, block the first 2 hits of the special 2 and evade the third one. Now he will end up getting the 3 charges, Arcade tokens, and if you have above 2 Arcade tokens on Arcade, the next basic attack is going to be auto blocked with him. So you have to deal with that. So let's look at the gameplay loop. Let me push him to a special 2 here. There we go. Now he's going to throw a special 2 out and I'm going to block the first 2 hits of it. And then I'm going to evade the third one after this special one. So here we are. Just being a bit naughty there, not throwing a special 2. Here we are, block the first 2 evade. Now he has 3 charges. I'm gonna wait for him to trigger a heavy and I'm gonna counter with my heavy. And voila, just like that, 2 more Arcade tokens are gone. So that is the whole gameplay loop of the fight. And remember, you're going to get your striker very quick. So after 5-hit combo, you can throw a striker, throw another 5-hit combo and you can push him to an SP2 again. And you repeat the same loop and you can solo this fight. I'm not one of the best players when it comes against Arcade, but once you understand this loop, the fight is a bit simpler than the other fights in this crazy Wheel of Fate. So here we are again, throwing my SP2 out, and we're gonna follow the same loop. Here we are, block the first 2 hits, evade the third one, wait for him to throw a heavy in my block, and counter with my heavy and rinse and repeat that, and that will help you bring him down. Never let him throw a SP1 out because that's gonna cause problems. Next up, you're going to have the leader, and here you can only use your Thunderbolts champions. The nodes are going to be close encounters. Now this is the most important one. If you stay near leader, you're going to gain 1% health every second. If you're far away from leader, you are going to lose 2% health every second. So the name of the game is try to stay near leader so you can keep your health up and you can keep doing that damage. There's also enhanced parry here, and there's also flabbergasted, Iced Freeze and unmastered. So the other important node is that your willpower mastery and your solve mastery will be disabled, even though you will have a lot of debuffs on you, but don't worry, the close encounters will help you heal. Now the absolute best option here is going to be your Photon, because she can also negate any of that damage from energy, so that's going to be really helpful. Some of the options that can really work here are going to be your Luke Cage, also your Red Guardian along with your Bullseye. All of these options work. Now the best way to do this fight is to keep leader to an SP1 only and evade all the hits. Now I did a mistake in the beginning here because I was just trying to parry and get that power gain from that enhanced parry, and then make sure that I use my specials to create that distance. But in the meanwhile, what was happening, I was just getting hit by the SP1s, and the debuffs were increasing on me. So you see the Spectre debuff that was increasing on me, and that was giving me a lot of damage. Whereas the much more easier and the much more better approach is to just evade all the attacks in the SP1. It's easier to evade, don't worry about it, and once you do that, you automatically stay nearby a leader and you keep healing up, and then eventually, like, it's a game of repetition, so that gameplay loop is going again and again. So push him to an SP1, evade all the hits, go back in and attack him, throw your SP2 and then SP1 if you're using Photon. If you're using other champion, you use the right combination and you should be good. So it took me around 1 revive for this fight because I messed up the first time, but then I realized what is the correct way to do this fight. So if you're going to do this fight, use your SP2, SP1 rotation with Photon and keep leader to an SP1 and evade all the hits on it and then stay near him, and you are able to keep the region up and you should be good for this fight. And this is the fight where my misery started, and I really got tilted here because this fight just took away so much from me. I think it totally cost me around 15 to 20 revives to get this fight done, and because I was using a rank 1 Dazzler, it wasn't like the best option. At least a rank 2 with a high sig would have been better. But you can only use medium-sized champion, and also there are X-Men, and the nodes are going to be Purified State, Adamant Axiom, and Arrow to the Knee. So if Bullseye uses a special attack, he's going to remove 4 debuffs from him, and also with Adamant Axiom, his ability accuracy cannot be reduced. Then Arrow to the Knee, he starts with extra with those cruelties on you that you can take for yourself once you intercept his heavy attack, and you can take some of those furies for yourself. But the challenge of this fight is totally different. That's a very beefy Bullseye, and his SP1 is going to really hurt you. So if you're going to use Dazzler, or if you're going to use Blue Cyclops, which I think are the only best options for this fight, you need to get to an SP2 without dying because he really hits hard in the block. So with Blue Cyclops, it's a bit easier. I think that is the best option for this fight. You can build up to 2 bars of power. You can just hold your block, let him hit you, and then you can use 3 hits, and because you will have that true strike on you, he will not evade you. So it's easier to build up to almost 3 bars of power with Blue Cyclops and then spam your specials. Now if you're going to use Dazzler and you want to be, like me, I made my mistake. I should have brought in Blue Cyclops. First you have to throw an SP3, and once you throw that, first you have to throw an SP1 and get those charges on you. And once you have those charges, then you have to go into an SP2 to burst some damage. So that is going to be the difficult part. So I had to learn on the fly how to perfect tap so I can get those charges. And then also, if you notice, I learned how to evade the first 2 hits of the SP1, block the 3rd, and evade the 5th one. So I know it's a lot, and this fight is hideous. This is one of the worst fights in Wheel of Fate, quest number 2 in all the quests. So you have to get through this. You have to jog through this, and this is right here. I have my SP1 done. I'm just waiting for the SP2, waited for his evade charge to go, and now I can throw my special 2 and tap and do some burst damage right here. So I'm able to bring him down to 42%, and this is the rinse and repeat. It took me around 15 to 20, 22 revives to get this fight done. So this is going to be a hideous fight. I would say if you have an Iceman, or if you have ranked up Blue Cyclops, bring them in. And if your champions are not ranked them, at least bring a rank 2 champion here, because those SP1 blades are really gonna hurt, and you as rank 1 is gonna die very quick. So those are going to be my tips for this fight, and good luck with this one. This is a difficult one. And then we have a Human Torch. Now this is by far my favorite fight in all of Wheel of Fate, because I think this fight is super fair. There is enough of difficult nodes to challenge you, but if you play it right, this fight can be soloed quite easily. Now the tag logs in quest number 2 are going to be only Gamma champions, and the nodes are going to be Bleed Immunity, Spontaneous Combustion, Adaptive Override, Dawn of Protection, Shed Skin, and Debuff to Defend. Don't worry, we'll go on them one by one. So, first node is going to be the AQ node, where the defender will keep getting protection, and you have to do specific actions to remove them. That's either a medium, and either a special attack or a heavy attack. Now, next thing is, whenever you will start a fight, no matter what champion you're going to use, your hits and your attacks are going to be considered as physical attacks. They will be converted to energy attack if you use a heavy attack in between, which the node forces you to use a heavy attack to remove those protections. So the easy way to deal with that is, whenever you use one heavy attack, use another heavy attack right after using a parry, so you can convert your damage type back to physical. Because if you keep your damage type to energy, that is going to give Smolder to Human Torch, and he is going to deal incinerate damage, and you will die very quick. So remember, you will start with physical type damage, and if you have to throw a heavy attack to remove the protection, throw one heavy attack and then throw another one straight away, so you can convert your damage back to physical. That's very important. Now next important one is, whenever you're gonna gain a bar of power, you will notice that there is going to be a gray timer underneath Human Torch's health bar. Now that gray timer represents that you have to use a special attack before the timer ends, otherwise that gives Human Torch debuff immunity, and all the debuffs that you've applied down there will be removed. So the easiest way to do this fight is of course you have to bring Gamma champions. Bring somebody that has scaling damage. So you can bring in Deathless She-Hulk, or you can bring in your regular She-Hulk. Red Hulk is also a good option, but I think Deathless She-Hulk by far is the best option, because she has scaling damage if you know how to play around the nodes. So what you need to do here, bring Deathless She-Hulk, start building up your taunts, and then whenever you have a special attack already, throw it out. Don't wait for it, because you don't want to give that debuff immunity to Human Torch and remove all of your taunts from him. Now just go about regularly fighting, evading the SP1s and SP2s. Look for the medium attack and the special attack prompts to remove your protection, and when you throw a heavy again, so you can convert your damage type back to physical, and you can keep hitting the opponent. I would suggest only use a heavy when you have to remove the protection from the node with a heavy attack. Only that time is you have to use a heavy, and eventually if you get this right, all the taunts will build up and you will do much more damage, and it will be a very fast solo. So I hope that helps, guys, and let's jump on to the next video. And we are in the final stretch of this Wheel of Fate quest number 2, the last 4 fights, and we are going to start with Serpent. Now the tag locks here are going to be your size medium and offensive burst champion. Now the nodes are going to be long distance eternity, so if you are away from Serpent, all of his buffs are going to be paused, and they are only going to start their cooldown once you are going to be near Serpent. Next one is going to be Red Lightning, so as soon as you go above 2 bars of power, you are going to be power drained, so you have to take care of that. Now it is a very regular Serpent fight, just a beefy Serpent, and all of your regular counters work. So options that are available, the best option is going to be America Chavez, because she can control the power, she can heal up, and she can do all of that crazy damage. So all of those things make her the best option. Now if you don't have, Count Nefaria is also another option, but he will take forever. Like, he will really take forever, but he does work and he is going to help out with this fight. Another option is going to be a Wong, but I would really not suggest to bring him. Try to have America Chavez or have Count Nefaria. But if you have to bring a Wong, it's all about just building up your blessings and then throwing their SP2s and keep refreshing that and evading those special attacks, because you will give him a lot of power and you will have to evade a lot of special attacks. But the good part is, once you have Wong build up, you can regenerate all the damage, and also you're going to have resistance against energy damage, so all of that will work in your favor. And the final one is going to be a Dazzler, purely because she can dodge all the specials and you don't take any block damage, and she does a lot of burst damage also with the SP1 and SP2 rotation. Remember, as soon as you go above 2 bars of power, you're going to be power drained. The nodes are not that difficult, but it's just a very beefy Serpent, so it will take a bit of time to take him down. Make sure that you boost well and you can do all of that damage, but you should be able to get this fight done in 2 or maximum 3 revives. The difficulty level of the fight is not much. You just have to control the power and also evade the special. So the absolute best option is going to be America Chavez. Second is going to be Count Nefaria. You can also use a Wong. You can keep healing up and block all of those specials, and with Dazzler you can evade those special attacks. So those are my picks. Let me know in the comment section what you used and how effective it was. And don't forget about his second life. When he is about to die, he is going to get a regen that is going to give him back 15 to 18% of the health. So don't get pissed about it. That's just how he works. So you have to go take him down to knockout, and then he will gain back his health, and then you have to take him out. So just remember that, because it really pissed me off when I was doing this run. Now moving on, this is going to be one of the most annoying fights of Wheel of Fate in any quest you're going to do. That is going to be against a spiral, because there's not one, there is not two, there is not three. There are actually 4 things you need to take care about in this fight. Now before I talk about them, let me tell you that the tag lock is going to be mercenary champion, so your mercenary champions can only be used here. Now the first thing is going to be combat deja vu. So if you use the same basic attack twice in a row, you are going to give unblockable to spiral. So the way you counter that is going to be using medium, light, medium, and then parry, heavy. I did that for the whole fight and it worked really well for me. So parry, medium, light, medium, then parry into heavy attack, and that is the way to go about it. Second one is going to be obstinate charge. So you know that you have to do your re-parries here, otherwise that can be really annoying for you to deal with not being able to stun him, because every 10 seconds he's going to get a stun shield on him that is going to negate one of your parries. So with obstinate charge you have to be careful about that. Now if that wasn't enough, there is also arrogance. So every 15 hits there is going to be falter on you, and that is going to be for 3 seconds. That is going to cause you to miss your hits, so you also have to take care about that. And if those 3 things are not hell enough, the 4th one is going to be named You Spiral Me Round. So whenever you see the dancing blades active on spiral and she will trigger a special attack, she's going to throw that blades towards you. She's going to activate them just as you saw. So there are going to be 4 different things you have to take care about, and it's going to be a super annoying fight. Now I brought in a Luke Cage. He is just a rank 2. He worked fine. I think it cost me around 3 revives, but I was able to bring spiral down. So how do you deal with each one of them? So for your falter, you have to look at the combo meter, and once you get to 15 you have to just dash back. Now for your spiral me around, her throwing her dancing blades, you can just block them. That's fine. You don't need to evade them like I did. You can just block them and that works fine. Next one is combat deja vu. You will also have to alternate your combos. So the best one that worked for me was parry, medium, light, medium, and then parry into heavy attack. And if I mistakenly give him an unblockable, I will just dance around and get through with it. And obstinate charge, just keep your block up and let her throw a heavy attack and you can retaliate. This is going to be a fight that is going to suck, but once you get the hold of it, this is a very rewarding fight. You can get through this. Now let's talk about what are the options. So, in my opinion, the best option is going to be Luke Cage, especially boosted because of all of the class advantage, and also he's going to have that indestructibility if he's duped. So you can bring him in. If you want to go a different route and you can bring in like Bullseye. Now Bullseye, you have one less thing to worry about. You don't need to worry about the falter because he's not going to miss, and you can worry about the other things. So that is one way to go about it. Third option is you just want to go raw damage and you want to finish this as quick as possible. Bring in a domino, build up to your SP2s and throw those SP2s out and pray to God that you get some crit bleeds and you can take her out. So that's the third option. Now the fourth option is a little unorthodox, but that can work, is going to be your Massacre. You can hit hit big SP2s in the block, but that is going to take a long time. I would not recommend it, but it's still an option. I've seen a couple of people do it with it, but the absolute best option is going to be Luke Cage. Good luck, guys. And the final fight before the boss is going to be at Dust, and you can use only X-Men champions. Now the nodes here are going to be Slope, Armor, Turtling, Even Punishment and Be Like Water. So if you're going to parry Dust or apply any kind of non-damaging debuff, she will go unblockable. Also, whenever she will have an armor up, she is going to start glancing your hits, so you need to keep those armor up down. Now if she gets an armor up, the only way to keep that armor up down is using a parry, because that is going to activate Even Punishment node, and that is going to remove one armor up or one buff from Dust and also one buff from you. And with Turtling, every 7 seconds she is going to gain an armor up buff on the timer, and that timer will reset when you attack Dust. So you have to play very aggressive. I wasn't playing aggressive with Sunspot, and I don't think Sunspot was the best option for me. I did not have Negasonic because she is the best option for this part, purely because the skill level required for a Negasonic fight is much lower than you need it for a Sunspot. Now if you play with a Sunspot, your gameplay should be very aggressive. You should be going for the intercepts and keeping that Incinerates up on Dust. Because when you keep the Incinerates up, you are going to remove all the Dust charges from you, and your whole thing is to get to 2 SP1s, and once you get to 2 SP1s, you can throw a big SP2 and hope that it will crit. Now my Sunspot wasn't duped, and that was a problem because I had less flare charges. I could not do 2 SP1s and then an SP2 because that was I was running out of charges. So the best way to do this fight, hopefully you have a duped Sunspot. You start the fight and you can use your parry to remove the armors, but play aggressive so you do not give her any kind of armor. Another good tip here is going to be just let her hit in your block and let her throw a heavy attack, and then you can go back in because you're going to remove those charges anyway with your Incinerate instead of using a parry and to be aggressive. Now once you have 2 SP1s, you have to use an SP2 to deal some damage, and by that time you will run out of your solo charges. So then you have to run back to an SP3 so you can refresh your charges and you can do the same gameplay loop again. So simply put, SP1, SP1 into SP2, and after that into an SP3. Then again SP1, SP1 into SP2, and then into SP3, and that is your gameplay loop. I am playing very defensive here. This is not the right way to play. I just saw another one of my friends do this run, and I saw him playing really aggressive, and that worked really well for him. So you can hold your block when she's not unblockable and let her hit in your block and let her throw a heavy attack, and you can punish from there. Don't worry about getting the dust charges because you're going to remove them from the Incinerate anyway. Use your striker. I made a mistake. I did not get my striker before I got into this fight. So I was not having those openings to hold my heavy and take some of the charges back by using a heavy attack. So those are the crucial mistakes I did, and it did end up costing me around 8 to 10 revives. The three fights that really destroyed me on this path, the number one was Bullseye, second one was Dust, and the third one was Deathless Thanos. Um, Bullseye wasn't my mistake, but Dust and Deathless Thanos were totally my mistake. I couldn't have totally avoided it. Apart from that, out of the 13 fights, I was able to solo 7 of them. So all in all, if you plan right, you can get this done. And if you focus on all the little things that are required for each of the fight, it's just that they are beefy defenders. You can, with a little rotation, keep going and get that done. So this is going to be for Dust. I'll see you on the boss. And the final boss is going to be Deathless Thanos. And oh lord, this fight, dude, this took away my will to live. Honestly, that was so bad for me. And I have nobody else to blame but myself because I went with a rocket raccoon. I don't know what even I was thinking. That is going to be the worst option for this fight. Now the best option is going to be a moon dragon because you'll be immune to reverse controls from the node, or the next best option is going to be Gamora because she is going to do some deal damage. Do not go with a rocket raccoon with class disadvantage. Just to put in perspective, the whole path took me around 1 hour and only the Deathless Thanos fight took 35 minutes to me. And I used so many revives, I went from a 4400 units dash down to 300. So that was how bad it was for me. So please do not do this mistake. Now that my rant is over, let me explain you the nodes. The nodes here are going to be to the left, the other left. That means that is going every 8 seconds you are going to get reverse controls and then back to your normal controls. And in that you have to deal with the special attacks because they are going to be unblockable specials. So you have to deal with that because he is going to throw those SP2s and SP1s. Now as a rule of thumb, always keep him to an SP1 because the SP2 can be really tricky to evade, especially with reverse controls. And then there's combat deja vu. If you're going to use the same attacks twice in a row, basic attack, you're going to get a weakness on yourself that you can use with willpower to help you heal up a little bit. But honestly, in the long run, it's not going to help. Your options are very limited. You can also use Beta Ray Bill, but the fight is going to take forever. So Moon Dragon, if you don't have a rank her to at least rank 2, or Gamora, rank her to a rank 2, and you should be good. The gameplay with Gamora, probably with the highest damage dealer, is you start the fight and you build up a few of your furies and your cruelty. Once you have those fury and those cruelty, you are going to just use parry and heavy during all the time and build up to SP1s. Once you have SP1s, you can throw those SP1s, and with the God Slayer and the bleeds, you will deal quite a bit of damage to Thanos Deathless. The difficult fight of this path is fight is not only the reverse controls, but the fact that Deathless Thanos has so much HP and it takes so long to die. Ideally, you need to bring in a rank 4 champion with all the buffs to make this fight go faster. Otherwise, it's going to cost you revives and it's going to make you question your will to live. At least it did for me. I went from 4,400 units down to 200 just because of this Deathless Thanos fight. So, please do not make this mistake what I did. Moon Dragon or Gamora is the way. Beta Ray Bill can also work, but probably the best options are going to be Gamora and Moon Dragon. Then all you need to do is use your parry and heavy, build up to your SP1s or SP2s and use them. It's much more easier to do parry and heavy with reverse controls. Then that also keeps the unstoppable away from Thanos because you're not landing enough hits for him to give those unstoppable charges. So parry and heavy into specials, and it's going to be a really slow and a turtling fight to a point where you will hate it. But the good news is this is the worst path in the Wheel of Fate, and once you're done with that, the third one is relatively much easier and you have better options for the boss and everything else. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found my guide and my rant helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below for every fight. I've done this Wheel of Fate twice now, and I've also seen quite a lot of my friends, so I'm very well versed with the fights, what to use where. And if you haven't checked out the planner that I updated yesterday with help of Solomon, check that planner out. That will really help you plan and show you all of your rosters. So I hope all of that helps, guys, and I will see you on the next video for Wheel of Fate quest number 3. You all have a good one and good luck with this one. Bye.